I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. To begin tonight's meeting, a few general announcements. First, there will be an Act 34 hearing for the proposed elementary building project, and that will be held next week, February 28, 2026, right here in the high school studio at 6:30 p.m. And we'll have presentations delivered by Dan Engen from DRAW and Jamie Doyle from PFM. Two additional announcements. We did hold an executive session prior to tonight's public meeting to discuss personnel and legal issues. And as always, tonight's meeting is being broadcast live on the district's YouTube channel. So we will begin with Dr. Miller with a recognition.
Absolutely. So before we move into the presentations for tonight's meeting, I would like to take a moment to recognize our school board directors as part of Pennsylvania School Board Appreciation Month. We typically hold this recognition in January, but with the weather, we had a virtual meeting, so wanted to make sure that we circled back. On behalf of all of our Lion learners, our administration, faculty and staff, our parents and caregivers, and our entire South Fayette community, I want to express our sincere gratitude to each of the members of this board. School board service is often unseen work. It involves long meetings, careful study of policy and finance, thoughtful deliberation, and difficult decisions that shape the future of our district. Your role requires you to balance fiscal responsibility with visionary leadership, always keeping students at the center. You serve as stewards of our community's trust. You ensure that our district remains future-focused, student-centered, and innovation-driven. You ask thoughtful questions, you challenge assumptions, and you support initiatives that expand opportunities for all of our Lion learners. Most importantly, you do this work voluntarily with a deep commitment to public education and to the children and families that we all serve. I want to thank you for your time, your leadership, your integrity, and your unwavering dedication to our Lion learners and to the South Fayette community. We are grateful for your service. At your place setting, there's a token of our appreciation. We're just so grateful for all that you do. And just we appreciate day in, day out, your dedication to South Fayette Township School District. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Miller. Thank you for the kind words and the gift that was at the place setting. So now we will move to the 2024-2025 audit report. Steve Niedenberger is here to present those findings.
Good evening, everyone. I'm pleased to be here to take a few moments to discuss the audit for the year ending June 30th, 2025. If you have the reports with you, I'll refer to a few page numbers throughout. The first thing I want to say, the most important thing is the first letter after the table of contents is our independent auditor's report letter. And I'm pleased to say that we were able to provide an unqualified opinion on these financial statements. Unqualified meaning that there was no qualifications on our opinion. So that's also known as clean audit opinion. That's what the school district strives for each year, and once again, we were able to provide that this year. I'll draw your attention to just a few key numbers in the exhibits. The first one is Exhibit 3, which is on page 20. This is the balance sheet for the governmental type funds of the district. The first column is the general fund. Just for you a few highlights, the total assets were $41.7 million, while your liabilities and deferred inflows and resources total a little over $11 million, and this resulted in your fund balance June 30th, 25 being $31.1 million. The next column there, the capital projects fund, you'll see you had $27.3 million in assets, while you had $1.1 million in liabilities, and you had a restricted fund balance of $26.2 million. And the final column there, non-major funds, that's your capital reserve fund and your debt service fund. You'll see you have $962,000 in assets and also a signed fund balance. If you flip forward a couple pages to page 23, you'll see these same governmental funds, and this will be the results of the activity for the year, 24-25 school year that is. The first column being the general fund, a little over $73 million in revenue, while your expenditures were a little over $76 million. We did have proceeds relating to the new leases during the year, a little over 1 million. So with this all netted, the general fund would use 1.9 million of fund balance to end at 31.1. Capital projects fund, the next column, we had interest earnings of 364,000, capital expenditures of 4.9 million. You also have transfers in from the debt service fund for the bond money of 29.2 million. So you're able to increase the capital projects fund balance by 24.7. And the final column there, you see you have interest of 20,000, expenditures of 720,000, and you'll see that you have two issuances of bonds during the 24-25 year. They netted proceeds of 29.895 million, and that money was transferred to your capital projects fund for future projects. Those are the governmental funds in the district. Another fund type is on page 27. Page 27. This is a proprietary fund, which is your food service fund, which is in theory to operate as a separate self-sustaining fund. You'll see 3 lines from the bottom that the change in that position was a decrease of 253,000. Now, over half of that decrease of 253,000 related to the estimated liabilities determined by the state for debt pension and other post-employment benefits for your food service employees. So the actual hard number, like how you budget for the food service fund, was just a decrease of a little over 100,000. Final fund type of the district is page 30. These are the fiduciary funds, and those are your student activity monies. You have a little over 505,000 in the student activity fund balances, June 30, 2005. Supporting these exhibits, there's a number of footnotes. A lot of them are supporting the estimates and other things on the first couple of exhibits that your bondholders look at. But I just want to point out on page 45, this shows you your debt level in the district, page 45. The key item I wanted to point out was that we talked about the bonds. At the start of the year, we have 61.8 million bonds outstanding.
Okay. And with those two bond issues, you added almost 30 million while you paid down 4.4 million. So at year end, you had a little over 87.2 million in bonds outstanding. The next item is the required supplementary information right after the footnotes. I could have you look at page 67. So what this is a detailed line by line item look at the general fund, your budget versus actual for the 24-25 year. You'll see that 2/3 of the way down on page 67, that your actual revenues came in about 922,000 less than budgeted. The bulk of this was due to your delinquent real estate taxes. Collection was down significantly in 24-25 versus previous years and what was budgeted. If we flip forward though to page 73, the second third line down, you'll see the total expenditures for the year. You had budgeted 80 million, a little over 80 million, and you actually came in a little over 76 million. So you spent a little less than 4 million actually than what was budgeted. That showed the strong fiscal management of the school district. So with the revenues shortfall and the surplus due to the less expenditures than budgeted spent, as a whole, that got you to your actual 1.9 million use of fund balance. You had budgeted to use a little over 5 million. So for the year, you were 3.1 million to the good, meaning you used less fund balance than you had anticipated, which is a very good thing. The final component of this audit report, you don't really have to flip to any page number, but it's anytime 750,000 of federal monies are spent, we have to perform a single audit. You spent about 1.1 million in the 24-25 year. So we have to follow the federal guidelines and make sure those expenditures were expended in the proper manner. Our first letter in that area talks about that they were. Basically, you had a clean report on your federal expenditures. And the second letter talks about the internal controls. They're held at a very high level, even more so than your normal financial statements when it relates to the spending of federal money. And we didn't notice any weaknesses in those controls. So that was also a positive in your single audit. So just a brief summary. We talked about the financial numbers, clean audit opinion, and just keep in mind that you did have some transition in the business office that really took place a little before that. And it was still a very good audit and worked well working with your business office staff in the 24-25 audit, which would have been this fall when we were out doing the audit. So I know it's a lot of numbers quickly and could be a little confusing or boring, but wanted to see if anybody had any questions or anything I said, or maybe something we looked at in the financial statements previously.
I have a question. This is Len Fornella. Can you hear me?
Yes, Len, go ahead.
Yes, the question you mentioned where there was a in delinquent taxes, we were a little bit short of the estimate in the budget. Is that because those delinquent taxes were collected in the next year as opposed to the prior year? You following me?
Yes, your current real estate tax collector, he was a little tardy getting the information to the delinquent collector. So the delinquent collector was unable to start collecting as quickly as they would have liked. And that almost exclusively is the reason that your delinquent collections were down. In theory, if you look at a few-year period, you didn't lose money, but it just was in the 24-25 year, you weren't able to collect that. So
Right. We got the money. It's just a timing issue. Is that what you're saying?
correct. Yes. I would expect your 25-26 delinquent to be above budget.
Okay. That's what I was getting at. Thanks.
Yes.
Any other questions or comments? Steve, thank you very much for your presentation.
Okay. Thank you for your time. And if you do have any further questions, if you could just send them Ryan's way and he'll get in contact and we'll get you an answer.
Sounds great. Thank you so much.
Okay. Have a good evening.
All right, we will now move to budget presentations for the 2026-2027 school year, and we will begin with Mr. Subi with the transportation budget.
Hi, everybody. I hope you all are doing well. My name is Brandon Subi. I'm the transportation director here at South Fayette, and I believe I am here to lead off with the budget presentations for the 26-27 school year. So I'm going to keep it short and simple, focusing on variances of $2,000 or greater on each line. My first variance is under contracted carriers. There is an increase of $50,000 due to several factors on this line, mainly because we're seeing an increase of the number of students outplaced, seeing new private schools in the area. So that can be costly. Also, we had quite a shortage of bus drivers this year. There was a period of time we were 6 short, which led me to have to contract out some stuff just to ensure we were able to provide transportation this year. It was a rough year as far as being short with drivers. I am proud to say, though, as of tonight, pending board approval, we will be neutral, even for bus drivers for the first time this school year, which I'm very excited about. Another thing we're able to do to help with this cost is coordinate a lot of ride sharing with neighboring districts, Chartiers Valley, Upper St. Clair. We take a lot of their kids to schools we're already going to and vice versa as well. So that was able to help us out with the cost, save us some money. But overall, I do see an increase in this next year just because of new schools, additional outplaced children. And I don't believe I said this as well. If any of you have any questions anytime during my me talking, feel free to interrupt, ask a question. Next variance is under gasoline, increase of $5,000 under that code. That is because we are going to have 2 additional gasoline vehicles this year, and I am requesting the purchase of 1 for next year as well. Vans, you cannot buy them with diesel anymore. So as of next year, all of our diesel vans will be spares. We won't have any diesel vans in our main fleet. They'll all be gasoline. So that's the reason behind the increase of that. And it's because of our actual costs, looking at what we spend year over year. Now, this is not a variance, but just as a note under diesel. For those of you that don't know, we're part of the Allegheny County Fuel Consortium for fuel purchasing. We buy diesel through them right now. We will eventually buy gasoline when we have a tank. We don't have a tank to store it, so we have to buy it off the rack price. But for diesel, first thing I plan on doing for next year is decreasing the permitted volume that we purchase from 68,000 to 65,000 gallons. Currently, we pay $2.60 per gallon of fuel. Right now, we had a meeting on Friday with the fuel consortium. I'm a board member on the consortium as well. We had a meeting right now. It's at about 270, 272 per gallon. There are a lot of factors in playing this into this price, but we're honestly expecting it in the next couple of weeks to be between 245 and 250 per gallon. Ryan, you'll appreciate this. That'll save us approximately $15,000. So you'll see in under diesel right here, it's the same as last year. I haven't made a change in this yet because it's not locked in quite yet. But I do anticipate a savings of about $15,000. Big reason, geopolitical issues are obviously a huge factor with this. But one thing during the intense cold that we had recently, they had to shut down the pipelines in our area. So we weren't receiving any fuel. So there's a shortage. We're still catching up in the area, surplus at the other end of the pipelines. They're bringing it to us. We're starting to catch up. We're expecting this to drop by quite a bit in the coming weeks as soon as they catch up with the storage in our area. So that's what we're hoping for. Fingers crossed. Next variance is under the staff development training registration, an increase of $2,500. That is because of CPR training through American Red Cross. We do that every other year. It's a 2-year cert. So last year is 0, this year, well, I'm sorry, this year is 0, next year 2,500, so on and so forth, year over year. So the next variance is under debt service payment for bus leases. This is the cost of our buses over each year. We do a 5-year lease with a $1 buyout at the end of it. I am requesting the purchase of 2 72-passenger buses, 1 48-passenger bus, and a 16-passenger lift van to be included in next year's budget. As a note, this is only 4 vehicles. I do typically request 5 to 6 vehicles per year. We are in very good shape as of right now, where I'm comfortable keeping this at 4. Next year, and when we move into all-day kindergarten, this number is going to increase again. This is just a temporary thing, but I really just want to let you know that right now we are looking at 4 vehicles to keep our rotation of the fleet in a good state. One additional thing with that as well, or 2 additional things. I just want to let you guys know that we are in the top 1% in the state with safety inspections and state inspections with the buses. So I just want to mention that because I'm proud of our mechanics. They do a great job down there, top 1%. And I'm also including a purchase of a side-by-side vehicle, which is used for snow removal on campus in this budget as well. I don't believe that'll be part of the lease. I think it's a one-time purchase. It's about $21,000 in this budget. Does anybody have any questions?
We'll pause. Any questions for Mr. Subi?
Brandon, it's Len. Just a question on that last item you mentioned, the side-by-side vehicle. I thought we contracted out the snow removal on the campus. What would this be used for? And what is it exactly?
We do contract out for roadways on campus, but we do the sidewalks. So any sidewalk on campus, as you know, there's a lot of sidewalks here. That's what it's for. It's a small utility vehicle, little side-by-side, a Polaris Ranger to be exact. It's got about a 5.5-foot plow on it, which is about the size of the sidewalk. That's what we use it for.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
Any other questions? Brandon, thank you for your presentation.
Thank you all. Have a great night.
All right, we'll now move to maintenance, grounds, and custodial budget presentations, where we have Steve presenting first.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Steve Timmons. I'm the facilities director here. We are going to do the entire facility department budget, which includes custodial, maintenance, and grounds. Actually, I'm going to have Josh come up here first to do the custodial. Then we'll head into maintenance with AFIN, and then I will do part of the maintenance and also the grounds budget.
Thanks, Steve. Hello, my name's Josh Wasserman. I'm the custodial supervisor here at South Fayette. And it looks like our only increase in this in general supplies. We have about a $7,900 increase. That's due to the cost of the supplies and in regards to the additions made at the IS intermediate school to supply that area. Any questions? Thank you.
Thanks, Josh.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Nathan Chirakis. I'm the maintenance manager here at South Fayette Township School District. Tonight we'll be reviewing the maintenance budget for the 2026-27 school year. Let's see here. Sorry, my My writing here is quite small and my glasses aren't strong enough. Looking at 330, first line. The budget is showing a $490 decrease or increase, that is. Okay, only $2,000 or more then. Apologize. So let's move down to line 3. That's 411. We're looking at an increase of $67.78. This increase is for the extra weekend pickups and roll-off dumpsters across the entire campus. Moving down to line 2, less than 1,000. Going down to 610, 2620, 610. This is showing an increase of $18,834. This increase is due to several factors at the middle school, specifically $6,900 worth of parts and pieces for our aging RTU units there. The other difference is a more or less 5% increase for several motors and parts and pieces that we use in our general supplies in maintaining our campus. Moving down again to 758, capitalized end user equipment and software. We have a contract increase for Siemens system of $39.58. And moving down one more line, it's 762, which shows an increase of $473,326. And here I'm going to pause for a moment and let Steve come in and explain this in greater detail, because a lot of this involves several items that he had added into it.
Thank you. So in the 762 budget code, this is a replacement equipment for facility infrastructure and equipment. As you can see there is a significant increase there in this line item of $473,326. So some of the projects that are listed in there, I will explain. One of the biggest projects that's in there is doing a seal coat at the high school roof over the gym area. Couple months ago when we met as far as the facilities department with the board, one of the questions that came up with was what we can do with some of the leaks that we're constantly having in the gym area and what we can do to fix that. So there's two options. Obviously, number one, to seal the roof. The other option is to totally replace the roof. Obviously, when you get into a total replacement of the roof, you're talking about anywhere from $900,000 to $1 million to replace just that section of the roof. So I tasked myself with going out and talking to a couple different companies about what they could do as far as just sealing that roof. I do not have hard numbers at this point. It's kind of hard to get a hard number when you're not on the roof. December and January has been very difficult to get up on the roof and get exact measurements with the contractors. So they did some measurements just from Google Earth, so to say, and just gave me some rough estimates. So that's why in there is an amount of around $400,000 to do that area. Now, this is just a placeholder. It's not something that's actual. It's not something that we have to keep as well. It's just a placeholder for now. One of the other things that I will be doing in the springtime is we are going to do a thermal image of that roof. Once we do that thermal image, we'll get a better understanding of that roof and what we have to do moving forward. Good possibility that we may not have to do anything with the roof, and maybe we can just continue to fix some of the leaks that are there. But that's one of the bigger items under there with that $400,000. Some of the other things that are in there, I do have under there the middle school auditorium carpet replacement. That is around $16,000 too. And continuing with two things moving forward that I've been doing the past couple years. Number one, the classroom LVT at the middle school. We're tearing out the carpeting in 8 classrooms and putting in LVT. So we did that this past year, and we're going to continue with that this year moving forward. And the other thing that we have on here, that's pretty costly is the replacement of rooftop units. As I've explained in all my budgets the past couple years, I'm kind of on a program to replace our rooftop units, especially at the high school, as they are well beyond their life expectancy of 20 years. So I felt the need that it's better to start replacing things while they are still working rather than waiting for it to go down when you have a lead time of anywhere between 4 to 6 months for a unit. So we've just started that process. We already replaced one unit this past year. And this year, I have a budget amount in there of $205,000. I do expect for that to come down a little bit. The rooftop unit that we will be doing this year is not going to be a 60-ton unit. It's going to be 2 20-ton units. So I expect that cost to come down. I have people running numbers for me already, but without being up there on the roof, it's kind of hard to get actual numbers. So in the next couple weeks, I will get that information. I'll be sure to relay that information on a rooftop unit to Dr. Miller and Ryan, because if it is something that we need to move forward and do during the summertime, we will have to place that order, probably within the next 2 months. So that's kind of the reason for a very large increase in that line item code. Does anybody have any questions for that?
I have a question for you, Mr. Timmons. Can you just verify that the section of the roof that you're talking about is no way connected to the section of roof that was recently replaced within the past few years?
Correct. It's just the roof above the entrance to the gym and the entire gym. There's kind of like 2 little sections. There's a small section right above where the entranceway is, and then the whole entire gym. So that would be the section that we are looking at doing the seal coat over.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Okay. Well, to finish up the rest of that budget code, there's nothing there more than $2,000. So that will be it for the maintenance. I will do the grounds budget code now. Starting with the first one being line 412. That is our snow removal. That is our plowing of snow and spreading of ice melt for the parking lots and roadways. I've increased that budget by $10,000 simply because as of right now, this year has been a pretty bad year. You don't know what's going to happen from year to year. You might have a good year, you might have a bad year. But the way we're going right now, I only have about $28,000 left in that budget code right now for snow removal for the next 2 months. So I just feel the need to increase that by $10,000 to be safe. Next line item is 414, which is lawn maintenance. So there is an increase there of $10,850. Reason being, number one, our contract increases by a couple $1,000s, but there's also a lot more tree and fertilizing that we need to do this year that we haven't done in past years that I started to budget for. Line item code next is 431. I'm just going to state on there that there is a decrease of $15,000 in there. There are projects in there that were in there last year that we're no longer doing this year. So there is a decrease there of $15,000. The next line item code is for 432, which is repairs on some of the equipment that I have as far as snow blowers, golf carts. And there's just a $2,000 increase there just because the cost of repairing these items continues to go up. Next line item that's $2,000 or more is my 610 account, which is general supplies. It will increase by $4,000. And that's just basically a price increase for all of the different types of material we use for the grounds. And finally, I do have a 762 replacement equipment in here. I have not replaced very much equipment in grounds, but this year I am looking to replace the sweeper that we use on the turf football field. The past couple years, I've been able to fix it and maintain it, but at this point in time, it's beyond repairs, and we just need to look at purchasing another one, and it's around $9,500. And to answer any questions, we use this piece of equipment with the Toro that we have on the football field 3 times a week, spring, summer, and fall. So it is used an awful lot. It is really important to maintaining our turf field. So that is the budget code for grounds. Are there any questions?
Pause if there's any questions for Mr. Timmons on the grounds budget. All right, thank you, gentlemen, for all of your presentations.
Thank you.
And I just want to go back to something that Mr. Timmons said. Certainly, it's been a challenging and cold winter, so I just want to take an opportunity while all of you are here to thank you for navigating the challenging winter with all of the snow and the cold, and keeping our student staff and all of our visitors safe. So thank you to you and to your staff for everything that's been done. And we have one more budget presentation, and that is the safety and security. So we will go to Officer Mike Szymanski.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to cover the safety and security budget proposed for year 26-27. I'm also going to be the new safety and security coordinator here at some point this year. So we have quite a few decreases, which is obviously good. So if you look at line code 350, security and safety services, we're projecting a decrease of $7,100. That is due to me being on campus in the summer, so we can cut back and scale back some of our Steel Town security. Moving along, if you look at general supplies, line code 610, I'm requesting an increase of $3,500. The district has, I believe it's 78 to 80 radios. The lithium batteries are typically only good for those for 3 years. Their lifespan right now has hit 7, so a lot of them are dying fairly quickly. This year I ordered 10 batteries just in an emergency order. I've had to replace some for custodians. I know my radio was only making it partially through the day, so I had to replace that as well. If we can go down to line 610, safety and security maintenance supplies. We have quite a few cameras that need replaced or installed around the district. What I'd like to do is I'd like to phase this operation because it's going to be a little bit of an undertaking. As of right now, we don't have any functional cameras in the lower areas of the stadium. They were the old coaxial cameras and they're no longer functioning. So I would like to at least get a couple down there and then potentially work on some cameras up here at the high school, as this is the most probable place where events tend to happen. And the last variance over $2,000, if we want to go down to code 650, tech supplies, fees, and licenses, we are saving $5,654. That's due to the implementation of our new system, Centegix. It permitted us to remove the Raptor system, which was the old legacy system for visitor management. And in addition to that, we can expect another decrease after the 26-27 year due to another tech supplies that's going to be expiring and no longer needed. Pending any questions from anybody, that concludes my presentation.
Thank you. We'll pause. Any questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We'll now move to the regular meeting agenda. With item number 1, we will have 4 items to approve at next week's meeting under the consent agenda. So we will now pause to suspend business to hear from residents and/or taxpayers. The board will hear comments from residents and/or taxpayers related to items appearing on the agenda for action by the board. The board will receive comments from residents and/or taxpayers on topics that do not appear on the agenda for action by the board at the conclusion of the agenda prior to adjournment. The time limit for comments shall not exceed 3 minutes, and the board will not respond to questions during this session, but will only hear comments. Any additional public comments, gentlemen? All right, hearing none. We'll now move to the superintendent's monthly report, Dr. Miller.
Thank you so much, Mr. Welsh. So I'm very proud to share that we are partnering with a leading researcher and leader in the field of executive functioning and student engagement. Ellen Galitsky is president of the Families and Work Institute and a senior research advisor to AASA. She's also a leading expert in the field of executive functioning skills. Her work emphasizes that these skills, which include focused attention, working memory, self-control, are the new basics essential for success in school, work, life. So we have been invited to participate in 6 modules that have been recently created. These are created with the support of global experts, which I had the privilege of listening to in one of a professional development opportunity. And this will support our advancement in this work, really K-12, and supporting our educators. We are also hosting a regional event in April that'll be open to many of our region's school leaders to experience some of the same training. It's all done free of charge because of our continued relationship with AASA. This has not been shared with anybody else at this point. So we're really excited to be the first to experience these trainings. We're also very excited that we're in the midst of Shadow a Lion Learner. This professional opportunity is open to our educators, and it allows them to have the opportunity to shadow a student and learn from their experiences. Often these experiences have also been called student empathy walks, but it allows our teachers to walk in our students' shoes for a day. And they get to see what a school day looks like from the lens of a student. And so tomorrow will mark the second day of the experience for several of our middle school teachers. And additionally, several high school teachers engaged in the work today and will convene 2 additional times in the coming weeks and then debrief after to talk about what they've learned, what they experienced, and what their takeaways are to inform their own instruction. We're very excited on Friday. We have our Best Buddies annual Mardi Gras dance. It's always a highlight of the year, and we're very excited for all of our students to experience this special dance. Musical season is approaching, so we're very excited that Frozen Junior will be performed at the end of this month at our middle school, and our middle schoolers do such a nice job putting together this production. And the musical Mean Girls will be our high school production. It will be performed March 13th through the 15th, and I'll be sharing ticket information in the coming weeks. And on February 26th at your place setting, you have an invitation, but it is our second annual community iftar at the high school studio. So here from 5:30 to 7:30 next Thursday. And we look forward to inviting our students and their families and celebrating as well as sharing about Ramadan. Good luck. And I have been watching my phone. At the halftime, our boys were trailing Penn Hills. I believe it was 24, and I'll get that score for you, 24-15. 25 to 14 at halftime. I asked Mr. Keener for an update. I'll try and get that for you as soon as possible. But good luck to all of our winter athletes. We have several moving on collectively or individually in the WIPIALs, and then for PIAA competitions as well. And I'm very proud. This year, West Allegheny created a unified Partners in Sports program and invited 8 school districts to participate. Our students in the fall participated in soccer, and they will participate in track and field in the spring. But last week, our Lions were the basketball champions in unified sports. So we have our neurodiverse, neurotypical students together, and they brought home the gold, even though not Olympics, but they were so proud of their success. They did a great job. And it was great to see our basketball coach there, along with some other of our special ed teachers to cheer on all of our students. They did a great job. So that ends my report.
Thank you very much, Dr. Miller. We'll now move to number 2, business office, where we have 3 items listed, 2 for action next week and 1 for this evening. Item number 1 for next week is a recommendation of Resolution 2602, authorizing the receipt usage of the Ready to Learn Equity Supplement in the amount of $953,742.73 as required by PDE. Item 2, which will also be next week, is a recommendation for the purchase of 2 72-passenger buses, 2 48-passenger buses, and a Ford E350 12-passenger van from Bluebird of Pittsburgh through the Sourcewell Cooperative Purchasing Contract. And this will be included in the 26-27 transportation budget. And the item for action this evening is a recommendation for the approval of the 24-25 school district audit report as prepared by Hozak, Specht, Mutzel, and Wood LLP. And information was provided earlier. We'll now move to item 3, personnel. Dr. Miller, if you would be so kind to preview these items for us.
Absolutely. So we'll be asking the board for consideration for items 1 through 12 this evening. But for minute purposes, we proudly announce that tenure has been earned by 2 of our teachers, intermediate school teacher Morgan Zokowski and high school teacher Jacqueline Menina. There will not be board action taken. It's not needed. It's merely an announcement to let the board be aware of that. Item 1 is approval for the following leaves of absence: Corrine Hawkins, Amy Brooks, and Mary Josie. Item 2 is a recommendation to hire building substitute teachers at a rate of $150 per day: Mary Jo Trichtinger and Meadow Locatus. Item 3 is the retirement of kindergarten teacher Noelle Gagliardino at the end of this school year. Mrs. Gagliardino has 36 years in with the school district. Her first year, she began as a paraprofessional, 35 years as a teacher. I love going into her kindergarten class. She's just an amazing educator. So I'm very proud for her. Item 4 is a recommendation for approval of CCAC Grace Lindblom to complete her clinical educational experience with our occupational therapist, Brittany Sham. Item 5 is approval to hire substitute teachers at $125 per day: Christian Sullivan, Lily Krafferneck, and Abigail Grenewald. Item 6 are asking for approval for EPRs: Mardi Gras Dance, Misty Minarchek, pep band personnel, paraeducator Miriam Fowler, homebound instructor Susan Yeaman, performing arts personal care paraeducator Cassidy Haid and Sarah Sweet, and 5th grade band paraeducator Stacy Fleck. Item 7 is a recommendation to approve the hiring of a personal care paraeducator at a rate of $23.41 per hour: Yesenia Bala and Johanna West. Item 5 is a recommendation to hire elementary school paraeducators, probationary rate $17.50, moving to $21.88 thereafter: Kelly Stoke and Sophie Tyler. Item 9 is a recommendation to approve Jeffrey Kustra as long-term substitute middle school counselor at a rate of $175 per day. Item 10 is approval to hire Rena Musalmelli as a bus driver, and as Mr. Subi said, to complete our full force of drivers for the first time this year at a probationary rate of $26.10, moving to $32.63 thereafter. Item 11 is compensation for the winter sports listed in your agenda. Item 12, it is approval for the following coaches for the spring season: Teslin Helms as middle school assistant track and field, Cameron Soma, middle school assistant track and field, Tyler George, volunteer assistant football coach, Laura Rank, middle school assistant softball coach, Zach May, assistant boys lacrosse coach. Not for voting tonight, but for consideration next week is a resignation of one of our track coaches. And then item 14 is we will be asking for approval for a track and field volunteer assistant coach.
Thank you very much, Dr. Miller, for reviewing those. And again, we'll be taking action on 1 through 12 later this evening. We'll now move to item number 4, education, where we have 4 items for action next week, and 5 through 13 will be for this evening. We'll review items 1, and that is a recommendation of a dual credit agreement with the University of Pittsburgh for a college and high school partnership for several high school courses. Item 2 is a recommendation to attend for Dr. Matthew Callison to attend the ASU and GSB Summit from April 12th, 2026 and through April 15th, 2026 in San Diego. And this trip will be funded through a scholarship from the Walton Family Foundation. Item 3 is a recommendation for the approval to hold a summer STEAM camp for the IS and ES in the summer of 2026. And those will be held in July. The morning session will run from 8:30 to 11:30 and will be open to students entering grades 4 through 6. The afternoon session will be in the afternoon and will be open to students in grades 2 and 3. The registration fee of $100 per child will cover the cost of all staffing and programming. Item 4 is a recommendation for the renewal agreement with Global Wordsmith to provide language translation services to the district. And this will be covered in the student support services budget. And now for action items this evening, item 5 is a recommendation for the IS orchestra teacher, Christina Crivelli, to attend the American Strings Teacher Association National Conference in San Francisco this February. The cost will be covered by the 25-26 IS budget. Item 6 is a recommendation for the purchase of Timely, a master scheduling supplemental tool, and the cost will be covered by grant funding. Item 7 is an approval of a stipulated adjudication agreement for high school student. Item 4 is the recommendation for a high school teacher and 1 additional staff sponsor to accompany a minimum of 10 high school students traveling to France and Switzerland for an educational trip, and students will be responsible for their costs associated with that trip. Item 9 is a recommendation for a cohort of district staff members to attend AASA's Igniting the Future Summit from March 9th, 2026 to March 11th, 2026 in Dallas, Texas, and cost will be funded through the Ready to Learn grant. Item 10 is a recommendation for the approval of a pilot of EDIA, an AI-powered math supplemental tool in 3 classrooms, 1 middle school and 2 high school classrooms for the remainder of the 25-26 school year, and this is a grant-funded project. Item 11 is a recommendation for the proposed changes to the 2025-2026 high school program of studies. Just a clarification, that is for this current year, or is that for? Okay, so
26, 27.
So that is a
We will make that
correction.
correction.
So this
Thank you.
should be for the 2026-2027 high school program of studies. Item 12 is a recommendation for the approval of a high school teacher to accompany students to the following conferences. And students will be responsible for making up all work. Appropriate adult to student ratios for supervision will be assured by the administration. The cost of trips will be covered by the 25-26 budget. And those conferences are a HOSA State Leadership Conference in Hershey, an FBLA Student Leadership Conference also in Hershey, and the PA TSA State Conference in Seven Springs. Item 13 is a recommendation for an updated agreement to transition from the current AP Innovation Zone Master Research and Data Sharing Agreement from the College Board Master Research and Data Sharing Agreement. Again, items 5 through 13, we will take action on this evening. Nothing under item 5, transportation. Dr. Miller, if you would share items from item number 6, athletics.
Absolutely. I will first give the bad news and that our boys lost to Penn Hills 48-27 in playoffs tonight. Item 1 is a recommendation to contract with Southbridge EMS for the 26, 27, and 28 sports seasons. Item 2 is approval for our boys JV and varsity lacrosse teams to travel to North Canton Hoover High School in North Canton, Ohio for a game on April 25th, 2026.
Thank you. And we have 1 item for action next week under construction, and that is a recommendation for ECS Mid-Atlantic LLC to serve as the third-party special inspections and construction materials testing provider to the Bus Depot construction project at an estimated total cost of $109,039 to be paid from construction funding. And 1 item under miscellaneous, and that is a recommendation for the revised policy 610 purchases subject to bid and quotation. So now we will suspend business to hear from residents and or taxpayers. The board will hear comments from residents and or taxpayers. The time limit of comments will not exceed 3 minutes. The board will not respond to questions during the session, but will only hear public comments. Hearing no public comment, we will go back to item number 2, the business office, where we have 1 item for action this evening. Is there a motion to approve business office item 3?
So moved.
Moved by Tom. Second by Esther. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We'll now move to personnel items, where we have several items, and I believe that is 1 through 12. Is there a motion to approve personnel items 1 through 12? Moved by Esther, second by Teresa. All in favor?
Hold on a minute, it's Len. Before we vote, I just want to ask, is Noelle in the audience tonight?
She is not.
Okay, well, I just want to say for the record that Noelle has been an outstanding teacher for these 36 years that have literally flown by. An outstanding teacher, loved by staff members, by parents, by students, and she's been an outstanding mentor. And while I will vote yes, I'm sad to see her go, but wish her the best going forward with her family and her grandchildren. So thanks, Noel.
Thank you for your comment, Mr. Frenella. And before we vote on this, Ms. G has certainly been a pillar of the community of the school district and has taught generations of our little lines that have come through. So she will certainly be missed, and seeing Ms. G around the hallways of the elementary school.
I'll pile on real quick here. So yeah, thank you for everything you've done, Noel, if you're out there listening. Very much appreciated. You're going to be missed for sure.
So I am now looking for a motion to approve personnel items 1 through 12. We did have a motion. I'm sorry, Teresa, did we have then we had a second. I'm sorry, before we vote. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we will now move to education, items 5 through 13. Is there a motion to approve education items 5 through 13? Moved by Rebecca.
Second.
Second by Jason. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I believe that is everything that requires action this evening. Is there a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting? Motion by Mike. Second by Tom. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries.